Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, this is the masterclass on the ongoing fun project of the Neurodivergent Entrepreneurs. And I'm thrilled. I mean, every time I do one of these masterclasses, I learn more. I learn more. I feel more hopeful. I feel more like a fucking superstar, excuse me, but it's just like, what are the superpowers? So today, my guest is Skye Mike. Is it Michaels?
Michaels, yeah, yeah,
Michaels.
yep.
Wanted to make sure we've known each other a long time. I don't say his last name a lot, so I didn't want to butcher it. And Skye has coached literally thousands of realtors and entrepreneurs. And I got to be a guest on his podcast about upper limit challenges a few months ago. And then I was like, well, I want to interview you about what you've learned about coaching people who you suspect or who have said, I'm neurodivergent. And so we wanted to have a conversation and something you guys don't have yet, but I started interviewing my daughter, who's the one that has said, Mom, you need to niche down your niche and really look at neurodivergent entrepreneurs. And that's where the seed came. And so I interviewed them for 90 minutes a couple of weeks ago. It was so fun. And they were cleaning their kitchen the entire interview. And so then I was like, oh no, and I'm going to be sitting in Skye's kitchen in a couple of weeks. So now these are the kitchen convos, and that's what we're doing. So it's relaxed, it's not scripted. You guys are going to have opportunity to ask questions. We're going to talk. Um, and I just anything you want to say before we
Yeah,
just dive in.
no. Well, first off, I'm eternally grateful for you, the help you provided me at different times in my life. And I think the thing I can bring to this conversation is the fact that I basically make the assumption my audience or the people that I work with, for the most part, I just assume every realtor is basically diagnosed or undiagnosed with ADHD. If you think of the best realtors, maybe my assumption is most people on this call have interacted with someone who is in the real estate industry. Most of the time, we're fucking crazy. And most of the time, we are just running everywhere, doing everything in the moment. Thing we love the most is when the deal's blowing up and we're like, I don't have hair, but the hair theoretically is on fire and everything along those lines. And as I got to work in my industry, in my field, I recognized how many people just, again, were never diagnosed with this. And the coaching industry that I now operate inside the coaching industry is geared in ways that it's so polar opposite of teaching people with neurodivergent characteristics. Because most of the time you're trying to give people structure and really, really organize things and time blocking and all this stuff. And it just results in this feedback loop of failure. Speaking of one of my clients, it results in this like feedback loop of like, I'm a failure, I'm a failure, I'm a failure. And really been an absolute pleasure as I've launched my coaching programs and my company to try to keep in mind the fact that I'm not going to teach to the weaknesses of the neurodivergent mindset, but I'm only going to teach the strengths of them. And as I entered that, I have a couple clients on the call now, but it really allows me to shine and stand out from the rest of the coaching industry that exists inside of real estate. So, and it was a
Yep.
little longer than I thought I was going to
No,
go.
that's good. No, it's
You got me
excellent.
on a roll.
Yeah, go ahead and just, oh, you guys can't throw things at us. If we're too verbose, just
Yeah.
interrupt us in any way that you want. So we'll figure this out. We really do want to focus on what some of the superpowers are. Um, Katie Farrell was my guest in June. I skipped July for the master classes, and she gave us so much information that if you haven't looked at that recording yet, I highly recommend watching it. If you were there, I recommend watching it again. I feel like there's about 10 years of data that we can unpack. This was her superpower hyper focus. She's AUD-D is what it's called, which is autistic ADHD, which is also the diagnosis that my daughter has. Today's talk is going to be really focused. I'm dialing down into ADHD and what is that? Because that is definitely the diagnosis du jour. It's like we go through different pieces in the zeitgeist about what people in the culture are talking about. ADHD is everywhere right now. And I think there's a ton of misinformation about it. I had a lot of misinformation about it. And so it's been really helpful for me as I've been diving deeper and deeper into this niche to just get more educated. So the first part is I'm actually going to focus on what are the challenging things? What is the criteria that the diagnostic manuals and the American Psychological Association have that is what people are identifying as some of the challenge places. So I'm going to go ahead and share that document. And then I want to have a conversation with Skye and with you all about what the superpowers are. What is it that you have figured out, or the people that you're working with, you're seeing or figuring out? And some of the pain points about where people around us either haven't been able to figure out or we didn't understand what was happening with some of our loved ones. So I'm going to move this so we can actually see. So you all, can you see that okay? But so I was shocked when I went through this, how many of these things I clicked. And I was like, Skye, are you sure you're not neurodivergent? He's like, no, those aren't mine. I'm like, okay, cool. That's just entrepreneurialism. Like, this is the other thing when we're running our businesses, frequently some of these things might show up because we're handling so many different pieces. We have so many different hats on. So one of the reasons why I also want to take a look at getting diagnosed and looking at these things, some of it's just a condition of life. That is the condition of running our own businesses. It's a condition of being an entrepreneur, that there are going to be things that we get distracted by because there are so many different pieces that we're dealing with.
Yep.
So sometimes it's a life condition. It's just what we're in relationship with and to. And then sometimes it's what's actually happening with our brains. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring up what does it actually look like, so that you guys are having more and more information about this. This handout will be sent to you with the recording. So you'll get this, and you know, take notes if that helps you remember, but you're going to get the document. So I'm just going to read through it, and you can go check, nope, check, nope, whatever you want. So it's like, so the predominantly inattentive ADHD, making careless mistakes at work, difficulty maintaining attention with tasks or at play, often does not seem to listen when spoken to directly, often will start but does not finish schoolwork, chores, or work tasks. Many people have said, I'm an amazing starter. I suck at finishing things, you guys. It's like I literally am building a team of finishers, people that can help me complete the cycle. You know what clutter is? That's something you started that you didn't finish. If anybody deals with clutter, this is an aspect of that. All right. Staying organized and maintaining time, you know, staying organized also has to do with cycles. How do you manage your cycles? And I'll talk a little bit more about coping and about cycles later on. Avoiding the things that make us uncomfortable. It can be homework, it can be reports, it can be completing forms. My graduate program was all essays. I'm a very, very strong writer. I hated writing, and I would have to get to the point where my anxiety and adrenaline got to the point of you are at deadline. And all of a sudden, I had the capacity to start, execute, and complete what I needed to do to get through school. Losing things, often easily distracted and often forgetful. So, and there were a couple of these things. They said, you might be able to self-assess with this, but what would the people around you say? All right. So I was like, I'm not that forgetful. And I was like, my daughter would disagree. So I checked that one too, even though I'm like, I don't forget. How would I know if I forgot? Okay, that's another piece. Hyperactivity and impulsive, fidgets or squirms. I've been called out because I don't consider myself hyperactive, but I'm an Energizer bunny. I just keep moving, and my leg moves, my foot moves. I've had clients say, could you please not tap your foot? And one of my siblings was like, you're moving your foot all the time. What's going on? I'm like, oh, fidgets or squirms. Okay. Restless. I got this. Gets up from their seat at school, at work. Landmark education. I always sat on the aisle.
Yeah.
So I could get up and go, because sitting in that chair for that many hours, it's like, hell,
Yeah.
can't do it. No, I'd go against the wall. I'd stretch. I'd do whatever. Do not want to sit in that chair. Driven by a motor, the Energizer Bunny. Blurts out an answer before a question is finished. Anybody else do that? Anybody had a session for me and had me do that to you? Yeah. So I get excited. I was working with somebody at Keep. He was one of my coaches, and I did that.
Yeah.
And he went, I said, I'm so sorry I'm interrupting. He said, I'm so ADD. He said, I love you people. You have the best ideas, and you just have to see them right now. I was like, oh, that's a trait. Okay.
Yeah.
So trouble waiting their turn, interrupts or intrudes. One of the things about my improving my relationships and my behaviors around people is learning how to breathe and pause. And do I need to say anything? Do I need to say anything at this point? So I forget when I walk into a room that there might have been something happening in that room before I entered it. And it's not that I don't care, it's that I just enter the room. And I'm learning, one of my games is, can I enter the room like I'm entering water without trying to create a ripple? This is one of the ways that I'm learning to modify some of my behaviors. So this is what cracked me up. For adults, diagnosis is determined by at least five symptoms, and 1 or 5 in both. I think I had 9 or 10. So I think I'm legit. So we're going to go into the ADHD strengths in a bit, but I want to stop the share. And actually, if you guys don't mind being recorded, if you have any questions, anything, and you can also put it into chat if you'd rather not be on the screen. But did anything come up for anybody in the room as I'm, powering through?
Or put the word me in the chat if you recognized 5 or more traits on there. Put the word me. I'm just curious if that's something that resonates. So little
that's
trick
great. I love that.
So
No, you're on he leads podcasts every week and has for years. Somebody went, me. Thank you, me.
There you go. Yep. And one of the key things the reason I asked the question like that versus, hey, put in the chat, the ADD mind is like, and instead you make it really simple.
Right.
Oh, me.
Yeah.
Right. And it allows for a very quick answer versus like how do I phrase this?
How am I going to do that?
What am I going to do? Is this the right thing? And then what's the dog doing right now? Right. So to keep the ADD mind attentive, short, quick, easy tasks.
Yeah.
To get
yeah. So this is you're jumping into it. So
I know.
Good. So you
exactly.
So I love this. Somebody said it's also the clutter and incomplete tasks. So the cycles. So we'll talk about that a little bit. So what else have you seen? So bite size, always good.
Bite size and excitement. Like, so for example, you guys, the vast majority of the clients that I coach and to Penelope's point, at one point I was the head of coaching for Compass Real Estate, where I met Rebecca and Adria. And so I've coached thousands of agents, and we often coach nationally, virtually, and it's these hour-long Zooms, and it's one person just talking for an hour. And when you are on these, very, very quickly, you start to see cameras go off. You see this, thumbs moving, and you're sitting there, you're like, oh yeah, like no one is hearing a word this person's saying. So one of the things that I always try to do, that once again, when we go back into some of the weaknesses, the fidgeting, squirming, rather than view that as a weakness, right? Let's dial into that trait. So I always try, when I'm presenting on a Zoom or in person, to have things that people can be doing during the call. So I'll often have very easy call response questions. And the key is it has to be simple and easy. Put the word me in the chat. Write the number 1 if that resonated with you. Because when a lot of Zoom presenters will, especially in the real estate field, ask these open-ended questions. Hey, in the chat, write what you're thinking about this topic. And then no one knows what to do. People freeze. And it's like... But instead, if you say, write the word 1, and then all of a sudden 50, 60, 70 people, you start seeing the 1, it's like, ooh, that's exciting. Another facet that I try to coach to when I'm presenting on Zooms, or if you guys or if you're ever presenting to a room full of ADHD people, is make sure that there are a variety of tasks that if you're doing one thing for probably more than 15 minutes, you probably are losing most of the room. So an example of what I do when I'm working with people, and this is for you guys as well in whatever business practice you have, is that if I have a presentation piece with a slide deck, I'll make sure I pause there and then do a breakout room as an example. Another factor is I ask people to go camera on. Why do I ask people to go camera on? Is because it allows you to be really interactive, but also it's one of those things. It's almost like this visual check that, oh, I have to be present right here and I can't be doing 30 things. So
There's
those are a couple of little things, accountability.
Yeah.
The other thing that is really key, and again, it's like one of those things that I don't always do this in a virtual presentation like this, but as a tip for most of my clients and students, is I challenge them to go in and remove any notification, specifically around three areas: text messages, social media, and email. And most realtors thrive on the dopamine hits of a notification on a text message, right? Rebecca, you probably just got one and you look down, right? So if some of these weaknesses, if you resonate with these and you have notifications, realize that Meta, Apple, all these companies know that notification fucks with you directly. And it is crack for ADHD people because we feel good when there's an exciting thing that comes through. Ooh, a text message from someone? Is that a deal? Is that a lead? The reality is you get hundreds of text messages a day. And when you're trying to focus on a small task or a small thing, or you're trying not to forget your keys walking out, right? Oh my God, I'm running late.
Right.
Text message. Oh, let me answer this. You walk out and you forgot to turn the stove off. Right?
Yeah.
So there's these little things that as a presenter or a coach that I try to key into. But also for you guys on this call, as people who probably are working through some of the weaknesses on this side, let's take this very simple device that we all have now and is like, unfortunately, is part of who we are now. Like this cell phone for most of us does not leave our side. We got to make sure we actually take control of this device because for ADHD people, this is crack cocaine.
It is.
It's crack cocaine.
Okay.
Because all it's doing, anytime I get a notification and I see it and I answer it, even if it's not productive, it gives my brain that little hit. So
it does. And the data is, especially when we're having to do deeper thinking and dive into more difficult, complex projects that are working with the left side of our brain, every interruption, it can take us up to 20 minutes to get back into the zone.
Yep.
One little interruption, and this is for everybody's brain. It can take up to 20 minutes to get back into the real production, like I'm in it now.
Yep. And for a lot of people too, they never get back to that task. Yeah. So it's like, and realtors thrive on excitement, right? We thrive on like the deal coming in, the problem that exists, they don't thrive on let me update my database, So on those rare moments where you actually, oh my God, like I'm actually organizing my CRM and I'm doing it. I'm actually doing it. This is like 5 minutes in, and then the notification pops in, and then you're like, oh, I'll come back to it. And then most of the time, they never even come back to that. And then 10 years goes by, and they're like, my database is a mess. So, and it's like a yearly ritual for realtors to put on a business plan, organize my database, organize my database. And a lot of it just comes back to this fact that we are so distracted, but then we also don't key into or know the weaknesses that we have and then practice techniques that address the weaknesses versus like actually enhance them in some regards. So a good example of this is time blocking. So wave at the camera if you're really good at time blocking. No one's waving. That's because
there's one. She just finished the book. She just banged her book out.
For some people, time blocking is not a challenge, and really for non-ADHD people, for sure. For ADHD people, like time blocking is the worst thing in the world, but they're told to do it over and over because, oh, you want to, do this project, write a book, organize your CRM, create systems and processes, fill in the blank. Just time block 30 minutes a day and pick a specific time. That doesn't work because they're hopping around, they're running late, oh my God, I forgot to do this. Oh, I got something more important to do. So a concept I coach to is time chunks versus time blocks. And what a time chunk is, and I have a timer here, or let's see if I can, I have a kitchen timer over there that I use. But basically, rather than create a time block, which is where it's a very specific moment in time, right? From 1 to 1:30, I'm going to fill in the blank. Throw that out the window. And instead, you do a time chunk, which says, for 5 minutes, I'm going to do this one specific task. And when you do it, it doesn't matter when you're going to do it, but at some point in the day, I'm going to do a 5-minute task. The key to time chunking is creating very, very small windows. Even like a minute is key because the ADHD brain, all it needs is to get started. And then you engage the strength, which is hyperfocus. Because the dopamine of doing a minute of boring work, quote unquote, like organization, actually makes you feel really good. And now, let me continue doing it.
Once I get into it. Yeah.
Hyper focus, right?
And I do 15 minutes because 5 isn't long enough for some of the tasks.
Correct.
So it just depends on what the task is.
And this is the key, is sometimes when people even struggle with like time chunking, right? Like sometimes all you need to do is actually a minute, and with making sure you have flexibility above that minute, but just, hey, for 1 minute, just do one thing for 1 minute. So like right now, for example, I'm teaching a training around, forever real estate client. I'll almost start every single class just with a minute of organization of a CRM.
Nice.
And that, it's always so funny. Then I say, wave at all right, everyone hands up off the keyboards. If I don't do that, they're going to continue doing it. And what I'm trying to teach is that concept of engaging the hyper focus with a very, very small chunk of time versus a block, so to speak.
No, and that makes so much sense because it's like, I resist structure.
Yeah. Yep.
I just
resist. You don't like it?
No.
Yeah.
And other people, and I was talking with my niece about it, it was with last night. She's definitely ADD. She's been diagnosed with it, and her sweet spot is structure.
Yeah. She
loves structure.
Yeah. It's great.
It's like the more structured her life is, the less anxious she is, and she can like navigate within that.
Yeah.
But she's figured out, and she would be fun to interview. I was like, what else have you figured out?
Yeah.
Because she's got the 9 to 5, but she's also in research.
Okay. Yep.
Super brilliant, Fulbright scholar. I mean, just like the whole bit, but it's all of us, we all have to find our own ways.
Yeah.
We all have to find what's going to resonate. There is no cookie cutter here. There are different hacks that we're offering because what is going to work for me is not going to work for you.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's great to try it though. So I'm loving this. How do you engage the hyper focus?
Exactly. And so in the chat right now, everyone put one word that describes something that you want to get organized on, or that you've been working on, that you've been procrastinating on. Just one word. Like don't be too descriptive. To be really specific with that one word. Life. Classic ADHD response. Great. Yeah. All right, Rebecca. Within life, what's one thing inside of life? Get more specific. CRM. Great. Yeah. Filing bills. So Josh, do you mind unmuting real quick?
I thought you muted me.
Yeah, we might have. But so Josh, finally, or doing your bills, right? That's one of those ADHD things that probably you avoid tremendously. Another hack, Josh, what's something you love to do? Like that you like what's something that's just like,
well, the way I usually deal with it is turn the music up with the headphones and just space into it and do the organization. But I can't do it for real long.
Great. Okay. So is there something that you do every day, Josh, that's like a small habit? Like drinking coffee in the morning, or going for walking your dog, or is there anything in your world that's like that's already a habit that you actually sort of enjoy?
Um, sure, I have lots of habits, but let's go for a set of exercises. I do those.
You like exercising, great. So the one thing, this is another hack you guys can see if it works for you. It's called habit stacking. Take a habit that you already do. And the rule of thumb generally is you want this to be something that's semi-enjoyable, and stack another habit that you're trying to establish on top of it. So, for example, I love coffee in the morning. I'm trying to establish a habit of meditation, right?
Mhm.
So I'll do my meditation before I drink my coffee. And because I love drinking coffee, right? It's almost like creating a natural reward for doing the thing that I really want to instill as a habit. And I enjoy meditation too, but not as much as I enjoy coffee. And so, Josh, you enjoy doing exercise, right? So, and the key thing with this, Josh, is not doing hour of bills before you exercise, right? The key thing is just picking one bill that you're going to pay or file and then going to exercise. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to hack your brain to connect doing something you don't enjoy with something you do, till over time you actually begin to enjoy the doing of the bills.
And what I love about this too, it's either there's like the red, which is what we're avoiding, the
Yep.
green is what we enjoy. And when you start habit stacking, there's the color is white, which it can go neutral. So you either love it or it starts becoming more pleasurable and there's more dopamine,
Right.
and or it just becomes a neutral activity. Like I used to,
Yep.
cleaning my house used to be red.
Yeah.
I don't know that sometimes it might be green,
Yeah.
but for the most part, it's white now.
Yep.
I just organize things now. It's just what I do.
Yep.
And so that's what I'm finding with this. Like, how can I get things? And then I started asking the question, how could I get things out of the red and avoidant into at least the white zone, if not the green zone?
Correct.
And that's what I want to start moving into, about what are the different gifts of being neurodivergent and being ADD,
Yeah.
and then what are some of the strategies? Because this is one of the strategies. Habit stacking is a huge
Huge.
thing. I started after my long COVID, my body got so decompensated. I was
Yeah.
really sick for so long that I was starting at a terrible place as far as my fitness. I found out that the number one fall prevention exercise is heel lifts. And I love pour over coffee.
There you go.
I did my heel lifts, continue to do my heel lifts when I'm pouring my coffee over, and I'm just there doing like, and I'm in much better shape and I can do a lot more now. And then this is like, I'm almost at one leg, it's like, it took a long time, but that was coffee, the
That's
habit
great.
stacking with coffee.
Yes. Anyway, so Josh, I don't know if that helped or did. Hopefully, if you guys could think of something that is red, I like that terminology, right? And again, just making it white allows you to do it more. But when it's red, you will avoid it with every ounce of your being until it's at that emergency level.
Yeah.
And then the strength of the ADD kicks in,
Yeah.
right? Because, ooh, we like emergencies. You know why? Because it's exciting.
Dr. Amen called it wasn't attention deficit. He called it adrenaline deficit
Yeah.
disorder. It's like we have to crank up the adrenaline, which is a stimulant, which is why stimulant medications are so popular and used so much right now, because with the cognitive freeze, which is that red zone, it gets to the point where people literally freeze.
Yeah.
And we can't think.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like our brain shuts down. We're looking at something that's too complicated, too hard, don't know what to do. That's where stimulants can come in. And also we're getting company, because one of the things that's happened with these diagnoses and these behavior patterns, we've been shamed. It's like I was hit, publicly humiliated,
Yep.
not thought of as being intelligent by my beloved family.
Yeah. Yep.
By the people that loved me the most.
Yep.
I was treated as if there was something wrong with me, versus getting curious about how might they help me through some of the
Yep.
places that I struggled. So there was a ton of isolation. And I'm not the only one. I mean, a lot of people, a lot of my clients and people that are on these master classes have been reporting they're kind of they're grateful that I'm outing myself with a diagnosis.
Yeah, it's huge.
And I'm just like, whoa, this
Yeah.
is like a condition. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
But people are so ashamed.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think and as a society, I think we're geared at, the things that are strengths
Mhm.
are sometimes not amplified, as opposed to the weaknesses are amplified and
Mhm.
focused on and judged, right? Like think of schoolwork from a very basic level of elementary or high school education. We're judged on how we can memorize stuff, how we can, do these certain things because they're very easy to grade, so to speak,
Mhm.
as opposed to the strengths are very difficult to grade.
Right.
Right. It's very difficult to say, hey, great job. You're exciting. We're doing editing. You'd love to talk to every student in this classroom. Like, hey, no, you're in the principal's office, right? So we tend to punish or it's very difficult to quote unquote grade the strengths of the ADHD mind versus the weaknesses are very easy to grade.
Yeah.
So I think from a very early age, we start this process. And then it just continues as we get into adulthood as well,
Yeah.
So.
And for me, it was, and I've talked about this before, but almost everybody that I'm talking to right now was late diagnosis because we just didn't have the understanding. People in my family, several people in my family are coming out with saying, well, yeah. I'm like, well, that makes sense. And there's different flavors with each of us, So I just want to pull this up about what some of the superpowers are, because I'd rather spend more time there. And habit stacking's on here. By the way, habit stacking directly comes out from Atomic Habits. That's one of the things that he wrote about. It's a great book.
Yeah, it actually stays pretty much in arm's length.
Yeah.
So.
Higher energy. That is one of the things that being able to power through things and get excited. Like I call them my manic spike days. I've started 3 companies in a manic spike. Just like, let's go. It's like people like, oh my God, it's like unstoppable. It's like, no, this is a great idea. Let's do it.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's just like, and there comes into impulsivity. A lot of people would say that was completely impulsive. And I was like 100%.
Yeah. Yep.
One of the superpowers, how could impulsivity be a superpower? We'll talk a little bit about that. We have a higher self-awareness because we have to figure some things out because we don't look normal.
Yep.
We're not behaving normal. We're not fitting into the box. We're not being the drones. It's not easy for us to fake it. And when we are, it's also exhausting. One of the things that isn't here is about masking, that we pretend that things, like out in the world, people wouldn't know what our houses look like.
Yeah.
On Zoom, people don't see our desks. There's just a lot of, oh yeah, I'm doing, and then the high energy piece also can go into crash.
Yep.
And so part of I love the word flexibility versus accommodations. Accommodations is like, oh, you need accommodations. It's like, no, the system needs to flex in order to help people navigate in the ways that they need to.
Yep.
So I'll have a high energy day and then I'll have 2 days where I have to take naps.
Yep.
And then I have a super high energy day.
Yep.
And then I crash again. Guess why I'm self-employed? That's one of the reasons, most employers do not let you take naps. I need my nap. But part of the the higher self-awareness is how am I going to navigate within the system that isn't supporting me? It causes a lot of anxiety, a lot of feelings. There's a lot of misdiagnosis of anxiety disorders and depression with ADHD and people who are on the sensitivity autistic spectrum. Because we're feeling like there's something wrong a lot. And so we actually, and this data is coming out too about emotional intelligence and having to figure out how am I going to navigate the world that isn't necessarily supporting me in this. I have to figure it out. I remember there was one moment in my life where I was like, when is it going to get easier? And that voice came into my head and she said, it might not.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, if it's not going to get easier, then that means I have to fucking change, man. That's like, okay, so self-awareness. There's like, how am I going to navigate this? You guys all know this. You know that this like, and I love that really looking for, we're more open to coaching. We're more open to
Yeah.
therapy. We're more open to reaching out for help. It's like, I want to figure this out. I want to know how to navigate life successfully. I love that you put that in the chat. But the self-reliance piece too is that we're not looking outside of ourselves as much because we failed. We looked outside of ourselves 1,000 times and didn't get the help. 1,000 at least. So it was like, well, I'm not going to get the help I need. I've got to figure out how to do this. I have to figure out how to manage all of that. Resilience is one of those things that, in the Harvard Business, the emotional intelligence, they talked a lot about resilience. This is one of the ADHD superpowers.
Yep.
It is so good because we actually have a capacity to face reality. We create meaning in life in a way, and we make do with what we have. These are traits of resiliency.
Yep.
And we've had to figure that out.
Yep.
Problem solving, creativity.
Real estate.
Real estate.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like talk about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, and you're looking at this, and I love that you brought in hyper focus.
Yeah.
Risk tolerance.
Yep.
Jump off the cliff and build a plane on the way down. How many entrepreneurs do you know that are doing that?
Wake up unemployed every day. Yeah. That's it. That's it. Every day I'm unemployed.
What do you have to say about some of these?
Well, and this is I think why realtors or why ADHD people are attracted to real estate is because these strengths do apply to so many people. Again, every realtor wakes up unemployed every day, right? They're able to navigate a world where, there are political factors or economic factors that actually impact your pocketbook as opposed to the normal employee, the teacher, the doctor, the nurse. They watch the news, but without any fear that it's going to impact their paycheck.
Until recently.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we won't get into yeah.
Sorry.
Keep it at high level. But anyway, so when you think about the strengths of realtors, and this is one of the reasons why I love coaching real estate agents, is because of the fact that they're such powerful people in the sense that they can create change and they can move mountains when these are engaged.
Yeah.
When the weaknesses are engaged, there's no one that can crash harder than real estate agent.
Yeah.
So that's where it gets really, really important to be aware of these weaknesses and strengths as you move forward, because of the fact that these strengths, very successful people almost to a T will exhibit almost all these. And then really successful people will hire or leverage out their weaknesses.
Yeah.
So for example, if I was coaching a real estate agent and they struggle with paperwork, well, you don't need to hire a full-time assistant. There's services that will do it per deal where, okay, you can, what is it that I'm struggling with, rather than me trying to work at this?
Yeah.
Fuck that. Like, just stay right here.
Yeah.
Just put all your energy into your clients, your relationships, your people. Let someone else do the things that you're not good at. And that's this thing. So the more, when you engage the ADHD strengths and superpowers, it's like a 10x return of what they can create. And when you engage the weaknesses, it is like a 10x anchor of what holds them back. And mainly the self degradation, like, oh my God, I'm horrible. I'm not organized. I'm not this. I'm not that. That person is, look at that person. Look what they're doing. And all the shit starts coming in. Yeah. Right. And when you're here in the strengths piece, it's like, I'm amazing. I can accomplish anything. Like, I don't care that I don't have a closing because I'm going to go create 10. Yeah. You get the idea.
Next.
So
it's next. Like, next. It's like next.
Yeah.
It's like, this really helped me with sales.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was just, it's so important. Yeah. My ADD just took over. I had a thought and it went away. One of the things that I'm thinking about with y'all that are on here now is you're looking at the strengths. Go ahead and put in the chat what you identify as a strength, something that you know is a superpower. And it can be on this list or it can be something else.
And try to do it in one word as well. In one word, describe your superpower.
And if you want to put a whole bunch,
just do that too.
do that.
Yeah, we don't care. The one word is to help.
Send every time. Just do
Yeah. Who can put the most words in the chat?
creativity, problem solving, energy. Yep.
Yeah. It's great.
Good. Thank you. I was interested when I was doing the research for today about the relational pieces. And I'm actually been coaching couples that have one person who's neurotypical and one person who's neurodivergent, helping them navigate, how are we going to do this? So this is one of the things that I'm finding is that they are actually having more open and honest conversation with loved ones about the conditions and how to help co-create expectations that strengthen their relationship.
Interesting.
And so the red zone.
Yeah.
One of the things that's been helping get some of these people out of the red zone has been really getting their partner to hearing their partner about how they're not completing the task is affecting them.
Yeah.
Like how is the clutter really affecting you? How is not following through on that thing that you promised you'd do?
Yeah.
How is that affecting the relationship? And instead of feeling like an asshole because I forgot again, I didn't do it again, I didn't do it, like you said, the anchor and the pullback just gets, and so it just gets into the cycle that is awful. That one of the things that they're finding is like, no, let me just, I literally have them switch seats. And just what's it like to walk in their shoes? And when that awakening starts happening, then it starts going into the green zone. It starts going at least into the white zone.
Yep.
But when they see the response of their partner, and then the neurotypical people who've been judging and frustrated, and what is your problem? Again, empathy and compassion is growing.
Yep.
And so that's part of the conversations about when, and the conversations I'm having with family members now.
Yeah. It's huge.
That I had no idea. And it's just like, how is, so how's your neuro nerd happening? What's going on there? And I love the impulsivity. Because that's where the spark and the playfulness is.
Yeah, exactly. The things that probably they fell in love with are also the things that over time they hate as well.
No, I'm looking for somebody with structure. And it's like, dude, you are so boring. And they're like, oh God, you were just so little. And then you're driving me nuts. And then now we're off and running.
Exactly.
Now the work begins.
It's so great.
So again, as I was saying earlier, there's a greater receptiveness, and maybe that's because we've been in more pain.
Yep. It's true.
So it's just like, what can we do to navigate through this?
Yep. So true.
Anything around the relational aspect for you?
Yeah, I think I always joke around, every realtor, your license should come with a therapist as well. So it's oh, here's your real estate license, here's your therapist as well. Like, make sure you show up every week. And
you've sent me many people. Thank you very much.
So I think one of the key things on the relational side is really making sure we become hyper aware of ourselves and of the things that we do really well, the things we don't do really well. And again, recognizing the things we don't do really well, we are probably the things that are causing the most problems inside our relationships. Do you know what I mean? And then the other hard piece of that as well is often the things we do really well are the let's say the long-term things that cause frustration with partners, right? Like, again, the excitement was the attraction in the beginning. But the excitement when you have kids maybe, or, trying to balance a checkbook, or, hey, let's go to Disney. Wait, we got to pay the bills. No, who cares? Like, we'll make it. Like, again, over time, as people grow and change, or life grows and changes, being really hyper aware of the fact that some of my strengths in the beginning may not be my strengths as the relationship ages and emerges, so to speak. So, and that's a big challenge.
And as I mature and I've been going through so much, I realize I'm clinically optimistic, and I'm not letting that drive me as much.
That's great.
because it's like, Josh was like, I know, honey, I've been very worried. It's like, no, it's going to be great.
Don't worry about it, Josh. We're good.
And Johanna, this is an interesting comment. Better at getting things done versus being in relationship is part of level 1 autism. And that's true. The relationship aspects, especially on the spectrum, can be extremely challenging because of not being able to read cues. If there's a bunch of different things, and my daughter's definitely D combination of both. And so a lot of the conversations, Joe, you and I have been having, and the conversations I've been having with Nick, has helped me understand where it is that people in my life who were very late diagnosed, I was like, oh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense. And then it increases my capacity. I mean, coming back to relational, what's going to work for both of us?
Yeah. So true.
You know, because I come in hard and fast because I'm so excited and I'm such an extrovert, and blow people on the spectrum out of the water.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I had no intention of doing that.
Yeah. Yep.
So again, learning how to enter the space.
Yep. It's so great. So key.
Just so key.
And the meditation is on here. That's, I think, a really key piece of for ADHD people to learn. Again, there's no such thing as knowing how to do meditation. Like, everyone can meditate because you can breathe, but learning mini meditations, because the need to check that high energy and channel it in a proper way. Sometimes the mini meditation, a box breath, right? All right, let me just, okay, now go,
Yeah.
right? Versus go.
Yeah.
Right. So learning techniques around how to very quickly. And again, I think the positive for most ADHD people, they don't need 20-minute meditation session to have the benefit of meditation kick in.
Yeah.
And it literally could be one box breath, right? Or whatever second you want to do. In, hold, out, hold, right? That one thing gets you there, and now you go.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's a really, really key practice that it allows you to keep in your strengths in a way that doesn't blow up the room.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the breath, the reason why it's so important is because it is the place that we have voluntary control over our involuntary nervous system. And so we're like anxious, or a trigger just happened, or a deal just fell through, or whatever. I mean, life happens. There's so many, we get hit all day long with things that are restimulating our emotions. And the breath is an incredibly quick place to self-regulate.
Yep. It's huge.
Yeah.
So
it's like if you're flooded, there's one that I just learned recently where you breathe in really deep and you take in another. And then you let it all go. And if you do that 2 or 3 times,
perfect.
You're in a completely different, even though the feelings are there, it's instead of at an 8, you're down at a 3.
Right. Yep.
5 minutes in the morning, like you said, just coming. Bill had texted in the chat that the jacuzzi was the reward, the habit stacking for your working out. I love that. You know, it's like finding these things. For some people, sticking to a schedule is great.
Speaking of ADHD, what do you need? Okay. Can we talk in a second? Thanks.
Sticking to a schedule, as Skye said, sometimes that can be hell. I'm finding as I'm relaxing into schedule, I'm getting much more done. So it's like I've been doing my inner work. That's part of the mind clearing. It's like I need to clear the negative messages and the resistance. It's like, what's my goal?
Yeah.
And so it's like when I'm finding, especially on this long walkabout that I'm on, I don't have a regular schedule. Except for the one that I'm creating for myself.
Yeah.
So I wake up and I meditate and I make my coffee.
Beautiful.
I mean, I can count on, even if it's only 5 minutes of meditating, my whole day is different.
Yep.
The whole day.
I think too, when you think about like anyone on this call that might have kids who, if
Mhm.
you're ADHD and then you have kids, your summer times are probably the least productive
Mhm.
times for you. And then all of a sudden, it's almost like a joy when kids go back to school.
Mhm.
My daughter's listening right now, probably cursing me out. But at the end of the day, because all of a sudden now we have a forced schedule back in our life, right?
Mhm.
Where it's like, oh, great, I have to get up.
Yeah.
I have to do these things. Whereas
Right.
summertime, it's like, let's go to the pool, let's do this. Can you drive me to the gym? Can you, and it's almost like it engages all this like weaknesses. So if you're able to create small mini schedules,
Mhm.
that's a huge hack to engage your strengths.
Yes.
Right.
And there's
So,
like in like 3 times a day, there's something that there's some kind of, I call it scaffolding.
yeah.
What's the
Great.
scaffolding you saw? And I did a 3-day intensive on creating freedom.
Mm,
And what I realized at the end of the weekend, how I was going to create more freedom was creating more structure.
yeah. It's great.
And so she went around 50 people in the room. Everybody's like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do
Yeah.
this. And she came to me. I said, I'm going to get a dog and create more structure. And she was like, oh. And you're like, I get you. So it's like these are some of the things, especially, I'm 65 now. I mean, I've been self-employed and running my own businesses for over 40 years. And there are certain places that I resisted that were in the red zone that I'm so happy I'm figuring out to just say, I'm just going to surrender into structure.
Yep.
I'm going to figure out the scaffolding.
Yep.
I'm going to get the help. I'm no longer going to try to solo function.
Yeah.
When you were talking about leveraging and hiring out, I hired somebody for $15 an hour who would come once a week and spend 2 to 3 hours with me just going through my papers and organizing my house.
Perfect. Yeah. Perfect.
And several of them, some people got totally frustrated and they weren't my person.
Yeah.
And my favorite one, she would come and there would be this huge goblin pile after she'd like help me get everything impeccable. And she'd walk in and she'd say in this little perky voice, I know there's a story. I said, there is, and I was looking for her and I couldn't find. And she was like, that's great, let's clean it all up now. So it's like, where can we get help?
Yeah.
Is the other thing. Quit masking, quit pretending, where are the red zones, especially the red zone.
Yeah. Yep.
Like,
Exactly.
just where is it that I can get some company? That's the drum that I'm like,
That's it.
beat all the time. Stop trying to do it by yourself.
That's right. Exactly. You're not alone.
Yeah. And this is the other thing about some of the, we're talking about meditating, brainstorming with other people is really helpful. And then we were talking about habit stacking. It's like identifying that one thing that brings you joy.
Yep. Yep. A really good technique I coach to right now too is something called you match people up and they do a mirror session. And all a mirror session is being on a Zoom call with you're not talking, but you're picking one task and you're on a Zoom call with the other person who's doing the similar same task. So it's a mirror session, meaning like, oh, I'm staring at the mirror, someone else organizing my CRM. Let me do it too.
Yeah.
Right. Because of the fact that you'll let yourself down.
Yeah.
10 times out of 10, but you won't let another person down at all. So if you that's another really good technique. So
it's mirroring. It's also called body doubling.
Yep, body doubling.
It's like I interviewed my daughter. They were cleaning their kitchen.
Yeah.
They said, I hate being on the phone. I hate cleaning my kitchen. I've been really resisting this interview with you. We had so much fun and Nick's kitchen got clean.
There you go.
And it was just like, okay, so there's like
Perfect.
Mirroring, body doubling, co-working. Yep. These are all language pieces for doing exactly that. Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, this is what I'm working on. And that's when I set the 15-minute timer. Even when I'm co-working with people, it's like 15 minutes. I'm focusing on this one thing.
That's it.
Period.
That's it. It's beautiful.
Yeah. All right. So one word again, because we're actually gonna wrap this up soon, about strengths around organizational hacks or things that you have figured out or that you're taking away from this conversation. So how would you say this succinctly?
What I would love is, so let's do this. Put the number 1 in the chat if you've been inspired by something we said today. Put the number 1 in the chat. Great. Marianne, would you be willing to share? Just unmute.
Yeah, there we go. So Penelope, what is it you call me? Neurotypical?
Yeah.
Part? Okay. But I work with people, and I think back to my actual working days before I retired, and I dealt with folks with ADHD all the time.
Mhm.
And, you know, at various levels of frustration. I was also married to a man with ADHD, which ended in divorce. I think, um, so these master classes really help me get it about how other people's brains are not structured like mine. And I talking about relationships, I had an experience where I had met a man that I really liked, and I had made an effort to get to know him and spend some time with him, and we were having a couple of beers, and I finally just got up the courage and said, you know, I really like you. And he goes, you know, I have ADHD and I just don't pick up on those cues. And I thought, glad I said something, right? I mean, really, because I realized all of my flirtation and all of my, you know, making an effort to spend time together was completely lost on him until I said something directly. And then the conversation changed. But just understanding, for me, understanding that the things that are so simple to me are huge challenges for other people.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Huge. It's awesome. Let's see. Rebecca, do you mind sharing what's one thing that you were inspired by or like sort of like an aha moment for you?
Well, I think that I need to get back to my habit stacking and really the chunking, because I have this mindset, if I can't be perfect with it, I don't start it.
Mhm.
So I've been not starting a lot lately. And so I think that I just need to just give myself grace and just do 15 minutes of something and just feel good about that. Because I feel if I can't make it perfect and have a whole presentation, then I don't even start it, because so I think I need to just get back in the mindset of just small chunks at it. And there was so many things. Another thing I was thinking, you said the word bored. I don't know if this is a typical ADHD trait, but things seem so unimportant. Like I was dealing with a huge problem last week with someone's roof was leaking, and I was on game and I worked so hard and I got this deal closed. But when it comes down to sitting down and doing something that just seems so minor and doesn't affect anybody, I lose interest and I go turn the TV on or I do something. So,
Yeah.
so I need to like figure out that process. That's another like aha for me.
Just think of it like this. Like think of, and just, yeah, I'm not saying this is what you do, but think of the drug addict that stores cocaine. They love that, right?
Huh?
And then think of the drug addict who has to, cook dinner with sober. It's like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. I'm going to order out. And in many ways, that's not the best analogy. I was trying to come up with something on the spot. It was horrible.
Actually, I completely understand.
Yeah, all right, erase, rewind, and then all right, we'll start over. When that excitement was your brain is thriving on that naturally on that energy in the same way as if it was thriving on a substance, right? It's like it was so exciting and so good, and you felt so valued in that moment because you provided something that no one else could do. Other people would crumble in that moment. You didn't. You showed up. You solved the problem. You got everyone was taken care of. That moment, then you sit down alone to do the menial task of writing a thank you note to them, right? Or something that feels so menial.
I haven't done that yet.
Exactly. And it's probably been on your to-do list, right? All of a sudden now you're left to your own thoughts and whims where there isn't that excitement anymore. And so you got to recognize there's a normalcy to that. Like often you feel like you're, oh my God, I'm such a horrible realtor because they didn't write the thank you note.
Mhm.
You got to throw all that out the window
And
and recognize the normalcy of it, right?
There is normalcy of it. And then there's also another hack to this is so I do that three-dimensional problem solving thing that it's like, what's the actual goal? And what our brains forget is what it is we're going for. It stops at the barriers. So it's like, here I am, here's the goals, and there's all these barriers. And the mind goes literally between you and the barrier, which is what these menial tasks start to become. They become a barrier. For me, somebody help me with this. One of my best friends, she said, I don't struggle with emails anymore. And I was like, how did you do that? She said, there's a human being on the other end. There's someone I'm in relationship with. So when you think about your menial tasks, like for me, if organizing my CRM means that I get to serve more people. I'm serving. Me doing this menial task is actually being of service to hundreds, if not thousands of people. And so I have to remember that in addition to all these other things that we're talking about. It's like, what's the point of what it is that we're trying to do? Rather than getting stuck on, I hate this task.
Yeah.
So that's part of the mind clearing piece. It's just like, that's the mindset. And I have to keep remembering.
Yep.
You know, it's like,
Yep.
why do I want to be more organized? It's because my time and attention and energy is worth more than how I feel when I look at that shit.
That's right. Exactly. Exactly. That's it. And the other thing on that note too is that just rather than saying 15 minutes, Rebecca, I think that's too much time for you right now. Make it 1 minute and just start there. And now that doesn't mean forever it'll be a minute, but just for a week. Just do a minute. And if you go longer, cool, go longer. Right. But know that if you only do a minute,
That's your win.
that's your win. High five.
Yeah, because I think that when you were saying getting into your superpowers, when you go into, I don't know about you all, but when I get into my the negative part of this, I stay there for a while, and then it takes a while to get back, and so I have to learn how to put my cape on more often, I think, because
Take your notification. Do me a favor and just today, just for a week, shut down notifications on Instagram or social media, anything social media related. I know because
1 week.
Well, just a week, and just watch how your energy will change because Instagram is the ultimate thing that we compare ourselves to, and we're comparing ourselves to perfection. So as a realtor, Rebecca, you're looking at other realtors in your marketplace having all this success, right? But all of it, you have no idea what the background story is. Maybe it was a Zillow lead, they're getting nothing for whatever.
right.
But now your brain is creating all these stories like, why am I not doing that? Oh, it's because I'm unorganized. It's because I can't do this. I'm not writing the thank you notes. If I only did that, that's probably what they're doing or whatever. So yeah, make it a choice to engage in Instagram because you actually don't really have a choice when that notification pops up. You do a little bit, but you're almost not.
No, it grabbed your head. It's already grabbed. This is controlling us versus the other way
That's right.
around. This is a tool. We need it. It's not going anywhere. But it's just like, you know how I am. It's like, are your notifications off? You know, do you have do not disturb on?
Yep.
This is like really important.
Yep.
Where'd you go?
Thank you. I really needed this today. I appreciate this.
Great. Thank you all for showing up. Oh my God. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Any last questions or comments before we complete? No, good. Thank you again. Very, very good to see you all.
Thanks, everyone.
You'll get this recording and you'll get the handout probably by tomorrow. You're welcome, everyone. Thank you. All right,
Bye,
take
Ron.
care.